Hey y'all, welcome back to the ranch. I'm Jared Paul, and today we're going to get to prune the pomegranate, the flowering pomegranate that I got last week. I'm extremely excited. I had said I was going to wait a couple of weeks, but I've just been thinking about it too much. So, best part of bonsai, you get to do you with your trees, right? So I got the lawn tractor all squared away and ready to go, fired up for the spring season, and I broke down. Let's see if we can get in there. I broke down the chicken coop within the chicken coop for when we had younger chickens that weren't ready to mingle with our other flock. So now that they're all mingled up, we had no use for it. So I pulled all the extra pallets and wood out of there. And I'm going to be building the raised tree bed, for the rest of the week. So we'll be getting Rose of Sharon cuttings and forsythia cuttings and possibly one of my Japanese maple flats I'm going to put in that raised tree bed. So that's going to be exciting. But for now, let's get to pruning this flowering pomegranate. That's what's coming up on today's episode of Jarhead Bonsai. All right, so we got some really nice growth. This palm budding out, as you can see. Every branch, every nook and cranny seems to be kicking off some new buds, so that's really exciting. Means it's good and healthy, this tree. So this was gifted to me, and it is already my best bonsai, and I have never touched it before. So I believe he had these rocks up here in order to prevent it tipping over in the wind, because he's had problems with his larger trees with that. And it seems like most of the growth is going off to this side here. So if it does get a full canopy, I could see why he wouldn't want it to blow over and tip. But it's also kind of cool. It's almost like a little rock cliff it's set up on. So I love this, is that called lichen? Yeah. All over there, and there's a couple of different types of moss. So I'm going to do a little general cleanup on there, expose the bottom of the trunk here and the roots. Well, not the roots, the surface roots. And we're going to get the branching out of the crotches and some of the lower branches that serve no purpose, going to get them out of there. But nothing too crazy, because I don't have much experience. Well, I have zero experience with pomegranates. And I think it already looks. So cruising right along here. I think it's starting to look nice. I had to get rid of the longer stuff. I'll show you in a second. Because I found this slug or worm. It basically the nastiest little black thing ever. Yeah. And they were a lot bigger than this one. Can we focus? Focus, phone. All right, well, you're gonna have to take my word for it. That's like a slimy black slug thing. And it just so happened to be in the longer stuff. So I got rid of that, and I am keeping an eye out for any more of those. If you know what these, here we go. Here's a nice one. I should feed them to my chickens. Anyways, if you know what the heck these are, if they're dangerous or not, let me know. And maybe one day we'll get my phone to focus. There we go. All right, nasty. All right, so aside from wanting to do a little landscaping with some beach sand, which the beach sand here, it's fresh water and probably trucked in, so they're very fine little multicolored river pebbles, basically. So that's what I'll scatter through here and allow the moss here to green up and get nice and lush again. So you see those roots, and the trunk are amazing. I wouldn't even know what front. Oh yeah, that's good, Jared. Hit the camera with the tree. Okay, I wouldn't even know what front to pick yet. I probably wouldn't pick a definite front until I repot this thing next year, because I might change the angle of it and make this part strictly upright to more or less balance the tree in the pot. since it's going to be a larger bonsai. So now let's do the part I've been dreaming of. Yes, the pruning. So I'm going to be extremely, I wouldn't say timid, I'll only say careful. Be extremely careful to not prune off too much and get carried away. So I'm going to stick with my plan, and that was to remove the branches from the crotch of the established branches, because that's never a good thing, and go from there. So if they're growing out of the crotch, you're not pruning them back to the first buds or anything like that. You're just removing them as close to as possible, close to the trunk as possible. Also, right here is where our trunk divides, and I love where it's at. I think it's perfect for the height of the canopy. And so these lower branches down here, you know, they're nice and healthy. They're kicking off beautiful buds, but they're unnecessary, and this thing's well established, so I don't need a sacrificial branch here. Love that sound. I'm gonna leave a little bit just in case there's some slight dieback, and then if I need to remove more once everything heals over, I will. Take that one. We'll take this one, same thing. Leave a little bit. Definitely this one. You see, it's basically coming right out of the crotch. The main crotch of the tree. I'm not going to be able to get to it with that, so hopefully I can snip it with these. Boom, boom. Do I want to grow cuttings? I don't know. I'll have to talk to Ian. That's a thing with pomegranates. I might just do that. Okay, so here we have some nice branches flowing outwards. Oh, I just knocked off a bud, but I was going to probably prune that off anyways. And then you see this right here. That branch is growing straight up, so we'll get rid of that. Over here, we've got this branch coming up and going behind this one, and this one coming around and almost like it's going to weep, which kind of follows suit with the rest of the tree. So I'm going to remove this one that's growing up and back towards the middle. There's really no purpose for it. Yeah, so I'm going to save these, everything I prune off, just in case. Because yeah, that didn't really have buds on it, but it was a live vein because it's green underneath where I pruned. I look at this branch, and I'm thinking that that's probably dead, but it might become a nice feature that I could do a gin with, or just let it age naturally, and the bark will kind of crumble off. So we're going to leave that. That little guy out of there. All right, so we've got kind of a cluster around here. I feel like the older branches that I want already have some turning to them and some thickness. So I'm just going to pick out the younger growth that's just straight cutting across established branches. Moving the cross branching, that's like a classic pruning concept. I learned pruning from an old retired landscape architect when I was going to school in Colorado, and he taught me on full-size trees. So a lot of times I really just revert back to that, the ornamental styling and pruning techniques that he taught. You know, get rid of the suckers, get rid of the cross branching. This is a cool branch. It's kind of coming up and diving down. Then it has this side that would go up under this branch. No need for that. This has a branch growing straight down. So here, this is a nice healthy branch as well. Would be a good cutting, but it's growing completely across some old growth, so I'll get that. As you can tell, I'm removing whole branches right now. I'm establishing what I want for the majority of the tree. And then, you know, as it grows in this year, probably going into next year, that's when I'll start maybe refining it, bringing it back a little bit in certain places. But for now, I'm just letting whatever I really want to stay. It's staying whole and untouched. And the stuff that I wouldn't want ever again in the future, I'm totally removing it. If I wanted some more ramification here, I'd prune it back to like this first set of buds. A couple of little nips that they'll just grow straight up into other branches, so no sense in letting them even start. They'll take up the tree's energy. So by doing this, I would presume going to get a lot of energy going back into this season's bloom. Here we go with this one. This is just growing off to the side. I like this. I don't like this. This branch was left to go a little too long. It's coming right from the base of this nice established branch, so I'm going to remove that. And I really do hope that these do well as cuttings, because these are some really nice cuttings. And lots of buds on this bad boy already. Just removing some of the little dead remnants from previous prunings, I believe. Okay, what I will do now, I feel like I've removed all the branches I want to remove. Oh, I spoke too soon. So we've got, yeah, so this branch is cool and it's already dividing and such, but I really like the flow of this one. It kind of is balancing out this side going that way, where this one will just grow vertically. So even though it's healthy and an attractive branch, the other one is better. So let's see. Boom, and removing dead stuff. Okay, we've got some branches here overlapping, as you could see. Coming right at you. Actually, now they are no longer overlapping, and that creates a nice full branch. But this one's going towards this one, so take that off. Pop, pop. Laura's inside feeding Stella. She's probably hearing all the clipping and freaking out. She likes to keep things completely full, untamed, unpruned. Like even before I did down here, she was saying how much she loved all the different growth, and I'm like, Looks like a cluster to me. I gotta clean it up. I'm sorry. That's the fun of it. Having bonsai conversations with your wife is something I never thought that I would do. It's really cool. We both got into it since we've been together. She got me into it, and then I got her into it. And I think I'm getting well into my memory on this phone, so I am going to do whatever little final work I need to do, and I'll bring you all in for the close-up on the when it's all finished. All right, y'all. So I did end up nipping the tips on the longer branches. Just back to basically the next set of buds. I removed maybe one set of buds, just so that I get a nice full canopy this year. Not too much, so the tree isn't in shock being in a new location and getting too harsh of a pruning. So overall, I'm very happy. Great start to this tree. Thanks to my broski, Greenhouse Jack as I call him, for hooking me up. I absolutely love it. That was a whole hell of a lot of fun. And now it's time to go root for Crystal Palace. So I'm Jared Paul, and from my family to yours, y'all, cheers.